Do you choose your songs to suit yourself or to suit the audience?
Bobby?
To suit yourself, I think if you've got any sort of artistic sort of like pretensions, you have to sort of like satisfy yourself first. You can't really plan songs for the audience because you always find yourself being left behind. I think you just have to write whatever you think of.
Midge?
Oh, I agree with that totally. I mean, you can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself, as somebody once said in a song. And it's quite true. I mean, you've got to do what you think's right, and if it's successful, great, and if it's not, you've got to sort of, you know, bear the brunt of it.
Young lad at the front there.
Do you have any other hobbies in your spare time?
You don't get much spare time in the group.
Well, I have a wife and son anyway, so most of my spare time's staying up with them.
It's a good hobby.
Photography, that's the only thing I've ever done outside the music business, I suppose. And even that, all my photographs are photographs of the other three guys in the band, which isn't that far removed from the music business, I don't suppose.
Do you think politics has a place in pop music?
Bobby?
Well, unfortunately, no. I've come to the conclusion. I think things like Two Tribes and that club song are really embarrassing. I think I don't mean the songs are bad or the records are bad, just the sort of like concept behind it. I think in the old days when you had groups like, well, people like Woody Guthrie and things, it was more. It came from political conflict, whereas today's groups are just opportunist, I think.
I think music and politics together tends to sort of water each other down. You know, you get very sort of weak politics and bad music mixed together, and people sort of read in political sort of content into songs. I mean, Two Tribes, for example, I know for a fact that was written about Mad Max 2. Nothing to do with it, the end of the world at all.
If you want to write a political song, you should do it, but I don't think you should, you know, it shouldn't be planned. And then if you pick up a guitar and you start singing, and it's political in that sense, that's okay. But you shouldn't exploit it.
I think it can be political if you're talking about the situation between people and the way it affects them, but not to the extent that you're standing up there with preachy polemics and sloganeering and stuff like that. I think that's really crummy, aye.
Mary Boyd from Mainholm.
When you write your lyrics, are you consciously aware of including your political beliefs, such as in Dancing with Tears in My Eyes?
Midge?
No, that wasn't that was just my view on a particular situation. I mean, I hate politics. I find it the most boring thing in the world, and I just wrote a song about what I would do in that situation, which is a very simple idea. It's a very basic idea, and I think that's why maybe not the song so much, because people didn't actually understand what it was about until they saw the video. But the video actually hit home to a lot of people and made them sit and think about it. It was a very basic idea. It wasn't to alter people's opinion on nuclear armament.
Bobby, in some of your songs you mentioned the IRA. Is this because you feel very strongly on this?
Well, that's an old folk song. We did a song called The Patriot Game, which is written in the 20s about the Irish Civil War. And it's an anti-war song. It's not about the IRA. It's about a 16-year-old boy who joined the IRA and got shot dead. And it's just him saying before he died, you know, how he was tricked by his elders into believing all this rubbish about countries and patriotism and things and all that. I think he's just trying. It's just a song about not killing people for any sort of political belief.
You know, I tend to write a lot about the area that I live in and the people that I live amongst, which is like in Fife, and there is a lot of unemployment and hardship going on. And it's the people that I grew up with, and that's things I write about. I think like with the new song that we've got coming up, Where the Roses Sown, is very much like the song that Bobby was just talking about a young guy being called up and not quite understanding the reasons why.
I think you've got to avoid preaching in songs. I think Definitely. It's okay to write a song about politics if you don't say vote Labour, vote Tory, or Ronald Reagan's an idiot, you know. People should make their own minds up.
Up the back there.
Do you ever worry about influencing your fans when you write your lyrics?
You've got to think about that. It's really important you do influence them, I think. You know, like, that's why you've got to be really responsible if you write about political things.
I think that, so you have to be well responsible and think about it, because I think a lot of people say, oh, music's just entertainment. People don't treat it that seriously, but I know for a fact I treat my music seriously, and I'd like to think, not to the point of being po-faced about it, but I think you'd like to think that other people would.
I think when we were your age, the songs that I heard, when we heard when you were your age, are really important to us, things like All Young Dudes or things and all that, songs like that, they still strike home in the lyric content of those songs. I think if I was your age today and I heard a song like Two Tribes, that might stick with me forever. You know, I wish. Thank God it won't, you know. But I mean, so you've got to be really careful what you sing about, I think.
So do you still think that pop music today relates to young people?
Stuart?
I think some of it does. I think a lot of it has become a bit distant and a bit fantasy-like. I think if music can ever work, it's got to be like a breathing part of the community. It can't be seen to be something that's distant from it and special and like some sort of myth-making type device. And in that respect, I think it does have an effect, aye.
I think it should put into words what you're thinking. If you're the audience, the group you like should put into words or put into action what you're thinking. It should sort of like verbalise your thoughts for you. It did for me when I was younger anyway.
Midge, do you still see yourself as a youthful figure?
I don't know. I mean, I make music basically for myself. I mean, I think that's what any musician does. And I don't think it matters what age you are or whatever, as long as I get entertainment from it, and when I stop getting entertainment from what I'm doing, I'll stop making it. I mean, we haven't done any surveys to find out who actually buys our records or what age group it is that buys our records. We don't aim for just sort of 14-year-old people. You know, we make music and it sells across the board, I suppose.
Susan McGregor from Stonewall.
Does number one really matter to you?
Yeah, it matters to me. I think it's obviously like if you want to be successful and you're ambitious. Obviously, if you're in a pop group, it's like being a football player. You want to be in Celtic. Obviously, if you want to be the best football player, and if you want to be, and if you're in a pop group, you want to be number one in the charts.
Midge, you've been to number one. How did it feel?
Terrible. I had nothing to do with it, really. It's a strange feeling knowing that you're number one and there's tons of money piling into somebody else's pocket. It's very, very strange. No, I think I got more kick out of my number two, and that was Vienna.
Do you think the laws on soft drug taking are too strict and should be changed?
Midge?
I don't know. I think I'm probably one of the only musicians I know that's never taken a drug.
Me too.
Two. Three. And I honestly don't feel strongly about it one way or the other. I mean, I suppose my drug is, you know, like having a drink now and again. And if someone imposed a law on that, like, you know, brought that back in and said, no, you can't drink, you can only have, you know, one drink a week, then I'd probably feel strongly about it. If I smoked marijuana or whatever, I'd start to think twice about it. I'd take a stance on it. The only stance I've taken on drugs is I totally agree with the anti-heroin campaign.
I think soft drugs is a good point. I think that could be legalised a lot more or whatever, a lot more lenient on it, because it is just like Mitch says, it's just like drinking, you know.
And you find places like
no, so
like Holland and whatever have actually eased up on those drugs.
I think illegal things are more glamorous too. I think if you were tempted by it, the very fact it's illegal would help you.
I think if it was any danger, it would lead on to harder drugs like heroin and stuff. We've just done a load of stuff for the anti-heroin campaign.
That's a bad phrase there. We've just done a load of stuff.
So you just trying out, weren't you?
We are not the guinea pigs.
Right, taken up the back there.
Do you think that pop stars found guilty of drugs charges influence their fans in that respect and should be dealt with more severely by the authorities?
Yeah. Paul McCartney's been done for drugs quite a few times, and I can't see any sort of, you know, 40-year-old couples going out and buying, you know, bags of marijuana just to be like Paul McCartney.
Do you think pop stars have a duty to try and dispel this image of the drugs and...
Well, not a duty, but there's no duty involved in it, I think. But I think if they want to, I mean, if they feel strong enough about it, they should do it.
I think they're in a good position to do something about it.
Do you enjoy being interviewed, or are you as nervous as I am?
I really enjoy it. You can always tell in the first few minutes if the person interviewing you is for you or against you, and you can cope with it. You know, either way, you can enjoy both sides of it. If someone's aggressive towards you, then it's very easy to get them back.
Do you think people here are for you or against you?
I think they're definitely for me. I'm very popular.
One of the things that does put you off, like when you go on tour in America, it's like, as well as travelling huge distances, you're usually dragged through 3 or 4 interviews a day, so you tend to get a bit blasé about it after a while. And it does put you off, but when it's in a nice informal situation, it's good. I do enjoy it. Louise.